This is the first time we're actually using our plane for something useful other than just flying around. We're going to be flying down first to Kitchener-Waterloo to drop off my headset for some repairs, some old headset. And then we're going to be going down to Stratford from there. We've thrown our bikes in the plane.
Yep, and then we're going to bike around in 5-degree weather and stop at a coffee shop, maybe pick up some lunch, wander around the town a little bit along the waterfront, and then head back.
That's right. With COVID lockdowns, we really haven't been able to go very far to too many places here in Ontario because of the lockdown status. But things are starting to open up with the numbers getting better, so we thought let's take a day and just go down to Stratford and check out something different for a change.
So we're still being very careful, and we'll stay outdoors and wear our mask and not expose anybody else to anything. So
that's right.
A little adventure.
And as always, we get to fly over Toronto. Oh, it was a beautiful view.
It's a little choppy.
It is a little. Strange. It's a lot of, because we're kind of low.
Yeah.
So this is turbulence from the ground.
Oh.
Right? It's mechanical turbulence, they call it.
Interesting.
It's just like wind, especially here going over downtown, because there's a lot of tall buildings. You get a lot of wind funneling through the buildings and around them and then coming up.
There wasn't a whole lot that happened over the next half hour. Just a nice, smooth, boring flight across the Kitchener-Waterloo. But it was my first time landing at a Class C airport, which did end up presenting a couple of little challenges for me.
Foxtrot Whiskey Tower, where to on the field?
Over to char right, please.
Left turn on to runway 26, Charlie Foxtrot Whiskey, and then taxi 26, right turn on Charlie up to apron 7.
Did you say, sorry, right turn on 26?
Nope, left turn 26, right Charlie.
That was not the last time I would get confused by taxi instructions here at Waterloo Airport. You'll see my next flub in just a minute. I have a very old David Clark headset that I bought when I first started flying in '98. When I started up again a couple of years ago, I noticed that the mic wasn't working properly. Mid-Canada Mod Center here in Waterloo actually services David Clark headsets, so we stopped here on the way to Stratford to drop them off at the center for repairs. I would have loved to spend some time here and check out the facilities, but with COVID being what it is, they're not letting visitors inside. So 5 minutes after landing, we turned around and headed right back out again.
Charlie Foxtrot Whiskey, runway 32, taxi via Charlie, cross the threshold runway 08 Alpha, through apron 3 at your discretion, join Bravo at the south end of apron 3.
Apologies, not familiar with the airport here. Could you repeat that?
Hey, just start your taxi. I'll give you progressive Charlie Foxtrot Whiskey, runway 32. Make a right-hand turn on Charlie. Taxi Charlie across the threshold, runway 08.
Right on Charlie, Charlie across the threshold, runway 08. Charlie Foxtrot Whiskey.
And there's my second little mess up. I hadn't taken enough time to study the taxi diagrams ahead of time, and when the controller gave me the instructions for the route to the runway, I got completely lost. Luckily, the controller was really nice about it and just gave me a progressive taxi all the way to the runway. I know that happens frequently, but the first time it happens, it's kind of embarrassing. The flight from Waterloo to Stratford is just a short 15 minutes or so. I'd already been up to Stratford once before, so I kind of knew the layout of the airport, but this time I'd be landing on the shorter runway 35, and I was not expecting the trees on short final to look so tall. It almost felt like my wheels would be scraping the tops. Taxiway Alpha also leads right up to runway 35, and if you're not expecting that, the taxiway itself can seem like the start of the runway, which it most definitely is not. All of this threw me off a bit and led to a less than stellar landing.
That was not a good landing.
Don't you normally land towards the airport?
Nope, depends on the wind.
Do you turn on this?
Yep. Stratford traffic, Golf Charlie Foxtrot Whiskey is down on runway 35 and backtracking. Stratford traffic, Golf Charlie Foxtrot Whiskey on taxiway Bravo, clear of all active runways. Oh, maybe I should have gone that way. It's kind of snowy here.
A lot of planes here.
Yeah, the question is, where do I park?
After landing at Stratford, we chatted with Andy, the airport manager there. Then we hopped on our bikes and rode the 7 kilometers or so into town. It was a nice, flat, 25-minute ride, and when we got there, we had a good lunch, checked out a few shops, bought some chocolate, and then hopped back on our bikes and headed back to the airport. We loaded the bikes into the plane and took off for the return flight to Oshawa.
Stratford traffic, Golf Charlie Foxtrot Whiskey is on the roll. This is runway 05.
Not much happened on the way back to Oshawa, so I'll just leave you with some views of downtown Toronto and the CN Tower. As always, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.